Hey guys, Matt in Japan, and coming at you with another video. Thought I'd upload something different today. It's been a couple weeks since I uploaded my last video, yeah. So Power of the Primes is winding down, and the Cyberverse series, started to launch, and you've been seeing the figures trickling in stateside, and the new show starts September, I think, beginning of September. And I pretty much decided after Power of the Primes I would be done for a while. Those Cyberverse figures are just not doing it for me. They're really, geared towards kids, and I find it funny that some reviewers are complaining about, there's no knee joints, and this and that, and this isn't painted, and blah blah blah. You got to take them for what they are. They're clearly targeted towards kids. So they don't need to have that level of articulation and collector paint and all that stuff. So I just find it kind of silly, some of the reviewers going on and on about the Cyberverse figures, how bad they are, blah blah blah. But in actuality, that they're not meant for collectors, they're meant for kids. Anyways, so you're probably wondering why I have G1 Perceptor here. Well, recently I posted a picture of my collection on Reddit, and someone asked me, hey, what's your most, sort of prized possession of your collection? And I said, well, it's not shown in the picture because I have a case with all my loose figures in there. But actually, it's a boxed Microchange microscope MC-20, which is basically the black Perceptor. So hence the G1 Perceptor here. So I'm going to change him out for this guy. And since I kind of, was talking about this recently, I thought I'd just do a little bit of a review on it. I got this years ago, and the price was right, and I just thought I'd buy it. I've always loved Perceptor. He's definitely one of my favorite characters, and definitely one of my favorite Transformers figures. So let's take a look at Microscope Robo MC-20. This was part of the last series of the Microman toys released by Takara before they got canceled. I think they released one more after this, MC-21, which I forget. But it was the Microchange toys, and the whole sort of gimmick was the Microman robots disguised as everyday objects. I'm sure you guys know Cassette Man, which later turned into Soundwave. They did have a lot of different object type robots. They had a binocular guy, Scope Man, I think his name was, who never got released as a Transformer. But he's a pair of binoculars that transforms. And also something interesting, Takara marketed these toys as chameleon goods. They sort of had a nickname as chameleon goods, meaning that they could change from everyday objects into these robots. And also another thing, that each figure or robot came packaged in alternate mode. And there was a whole story behind it too, about how kids could carry around the microscope or the cassette player kind of unassumingly, and then transform them into these robots that would fight these Acroirs or something like that. I don't know the pronunciation. I don't know the story really. But anyways, there's this whole story behind it and everything. And of course later this mold was reused and released as part of the 85 Transformer lineup and by Hasbro, and as you all know, became Perceptor. And the obviously the paint scheme and all that is different. I'd like to take this guy out of the packaging and kind of just compare him with the G1 Perceptor. And first of all, before we do that, I'd like to show you the different sides of the packaging. This packaging is really cool. Of course, you have the the really cool artwork up there on the left. And it's all in Japanese, and I can read some of this, but it's Microscope says at the bottom in the big red letters, and it says Takara Limited 1974 and 1984. So that was right before they got canceled, the 84 date on there. And as I said, he comes packaged in his not telescope, his microscope mode. And then on this side you see microscope, and you just get the different angles of him and how he can kind of link up with the Microman figures, and his different modes. You got the tank mode and sort of the cannon mode there. Microscope, scope tank, and scope cannon is exactly what they call them. And then on the back, again, you have the different modes, and then how he sort of transforms into his robot mode, and the big picture there, all armed up. And on the last side, you have, again, the microscope mode, and it shows a picture of, it says 15 times it magnifies, so it has a picture of like a little butterfly and a leaf and stuff. So that's pretty cool. Something that the G1 Perceptor never really had. On the bottom, you just have your, yeah, there it is, chameleon. Yeah, it says in Japanese right here, chameleon. What does it say? Chameleon something. But yeah, it says chameleon goods in English right there. So that's kind of a funny take that they had on these back in the day. Chameleon goods, and then there's the top. So yeah, so let's take this guy out and compare him. Okay, so you have him out of the box and in his microscope mode. And just a quick look at what he comes with. He comes with his missile launcher here, and he comes with a black gun as opposed to the red gun for Perceptor. Exact same mold. And then I have the missile still in the sprue here, so I'm not going to take those off. Just going to leave them there. And yeah, so let's take a quick look at him. I mean, exact same mold as Perceptor, except in black and gray. And I believe the stickers are the same. Just turning him around here. He's a little bit loose. He's old, so it's to be expected. But turning this, the microscope part works fine. You got the tray there. So yeah, so just bringing Perceptor in. You got, obviously the once Hasbro got the property from Takara, they changed his color scheme to red and blue, slapped an Autobot symbol on the cannon there. But everything else pretty much stayed the same besides the colors. Again, like I said, the stickers are the same, both on the legs and the arms, the underside. And yeah, all around basically is exactly the same. And one of the things that was so big with this Microman series is that the Microman figures, I have just a loose guy here. This is some sort of kind of a newer figure. This is like a magnet guy. He can stick to things. He's got magnets in his feet and in his arm and on his chest and things. Yeah, it's kind of a funny story. My older brother was playing with these, which were called Micronauts in the States. They released them as Micronauts, and he used to have a couple sets of these, and I used to love these little guys. And never knew, they were, or years later, that they would be associated with Transformers and everything. So, but yeah, I had a lot of fun playing with these guys. They had the little rocket launchers and stuff, all sorts of vehicles, and they're pretty articulate too, pretty posable. They have elbows, and their arms can go around, their head can turn. They have slight knee joints. This one doesn't have any elbows on this one because of the magnet gimmick or whatever. But I'll just take a quick pause and show you how the Microman figures play into the Microchange figures. Okay, so here we have Microscope Man, or Black Perceptor as I like to call him, in his tank mode. And it's kind of funny, growing up when I had the G1 Perceptor, I never realized that there was an alternate mode like this. So he's basically a triple changer. So he's got his microscope mode and his robot mode, and then he's got a tank mode and supposedly like a cannon mode, which are pretty similar. But yeah, this is his sculpt tank mode. So yeah, the Microman were meant to sit right like that and sort of man the tank. And getting back to that, kind of not knowing that they had this other, excuse me, alternate mode. I never knew when I was little, playing with my G1 Perceptor, I never knew that these little pieces in the back slid out. I had no idea. I just thought they were, I thought they were there. I didn't know why they were there, until many, many years later, when I realized there was an alternate sort of tank mode for this figure, and that these actually slid out and were meant to roll on the ground. So there's his tank mode, which is pretty cool. I definitely like the black deco. I mean, classic red and blue Perceptor is really nice. But this, I gotta say, the gray and the gray plastic and the silver touches on the knobs and stuff, and the tray and things like that. It really, I really like it. So anyways, I will pause and then I will get him into his scope cannon mode, and we'll just see how that fares. It's pretty much the same, so let's take a quick break here and go into that mode. Okay, so here he is in his scope cannon mode, and basically it's just the tank mode with the cannon part sort of raised up, so he sits flat, and then this sort of is at an angle there, and that's sort of his cannon mode, attack mode, or whatever. But yeah, these guys, these Microman, they fit, they fit somewhat in there. They don't fit snugly, but they fit in there, so it serves a purpose. Anyways, I think I like the tank mode better. This is, I don't know, it's all right for what it is. For an old figure, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it is pretty cool actually, but I do like the tank mode better. So again, take a quick pause, and we'll finish up with both figures in their robot modes. Okay, so here we have G1 Perceptor on the left and MC-20 Microscope Man on the right, and in their robot modes. And just a quick look at the similarities, differences. Obviously, the paint scheme is different. Head sculpts are almost exactly the same. There's Perceptor, and there's MC-20. And going down, obviously, he doesn't have the Autobot symbols, and it's just a difference of color, really. Everything else is pretty much the same. I have his telescope thing extended here. Put that back. But yeah, so just thought I'd take this guy out of his box. I usually just have him, sitting in my cabinet with the box in the box. Haven't taken him out for a long time, and yeah, thanks for watching. This has been Matt in Japan. Have a good day. Thanks. Bye.